Welcome back, Chiefs Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to Chiefs Kingdom Live. This is technically the first show of the new season, even though the regular season hasn't started. We got some preseason action under the belt there at Game 1 against the Bears. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about just kind of what's been going on with training camp. It's been a while since we did this, man. It's good to see you guys. If this is your first time watching, or if you haven't subscribed, click the like button, turn on notifications, do that now. We appreciate it. It helps out the show. Tell a friend, tell a family member, force your kids to watch it, whatever. We'd really appreciate it. You can find us on all social media too, at Chiefs Kingdom Live. Gentlemen, how we doing? Nick?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I just got back from the Caribbean, so not to brag, but humble brag. So I'm doing good. Rested up. Saw some Chiefs football. How about you, Bo?
Gentlemen, good to see your faces. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
it's so good to be back doing this. I'm doing great. I'm on the road still. I'm currently in Texas trying to find a place to live, but just like Nick said, got to see some Chiefs football, so doing even better now.
Yeah, man, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm obviously excited the season's getting close, but it's always a little bit bittersweet, right? Because that means summer's about over. Right around the corner, it'd be fall and then be getting cold. Maybe not where you're at there, Bo, if you stay down in Texas this winter, but a little bittersweet when football season rolls around and you start seeing the preseason games on because it's summer. You're kind of getting towards the end here, but. It was a great preseason game. We'll get into that here in a minute. First, let's just talk about training camp. They've been at it for a while now. I'm trying to think, was the last show we did, was that when we kind of broke down the schedule? Was that the last one we did?
When they released the schedule.
Yeah, and that was right after the draft, so we kind of did draft recap too. So if you haven't checked out that episode, go back in the history. Click on that, give it a like, give us a view, if whatever you want to do. And training camp is underway. I'm getting close to the end of training camp now. Really, they'll be coming back from St. Joe pretty soon. The big thing you always worry about training camp is injuries.
Mm-hmm.
You see teams every year lose players. The Chiefs have been pretty lucky here with injuries. I don't know how much of the training camp highlights, the Chiefs, and they put out tons of stuff on social media, highlights and little snippets of the action going on up there in St. Joe every once in a while. Patrick looks good. What kind of stands out to you guys as far as something you've noticed from what you've seen in training camp, Bo?
Oh, man, some of the Mahomes highlights that have come out have just looked amazing, man. Like him hitting crossbars behind his back. I've seen a lot of behind the back highlights coming out of this training camp, which kind of makes me nervous, though. You know what I mean? I'm like, is this guy about to try this in a game? He sure is practicing this a lot. But then there was other ones of him on the 40, 45, just throwing them into trash cans, pretty much back to back. So, I mean, I'm just always excited to see that guy play. I like the highlights they're putting out of all the new guys too. I was really excited to see all the rookie highlights. They're really showcasing a lot of their talent. And they look really good too, ready to roll.
Sure. I think I heard all of the cornerbacks on the Chiefs that they've been asked. They said Sky Moore's the hardest guy to defend on the field, and he's one of the new guys. He's a rookie wide receiver, so that's good. They said even when he's covered, he still catches it too. So he's getting kind of a lot of applause. And if you're out there thinking about doing a sky's the limit headline for your story, if you do any, don't do it. That's cheesy as hell. But yeah, he's one of the new guys that has been kind of standing out to me. Nick, what have you been
on the screen?
What have you been enjoying or noticing?
Other than some Mahomesian things that are happening, heard that Carl Loftus is just a motor that won't quit. People are noticing it. You saw it even in the preseason game, but that Bo did bring up that it looks like Mecole Hardman and Chris Jones had some injuries in camp. So
that was
that's
today though. So I mean, but it's still camp though.
Oh, is it still? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're practicing in pads now and stuff, but yeah.
Right. So that's not great. I believe that Juju Smith-Schuster was quoted as saying that, the camp that Andy Reid puts on, by and large, harder than anything he's done previously. So Andy Reid is that old football coach that he still pushes his team really hard in camp, still has them play in the preseason game as starters. So that, hopefully that's some of the secret to success. But that's really what I've heard. I didn't make it up to camp this year. It's a couple years since I've been up there, but if you're able to go up, it's always a good time. So.
Yeah, going up checking out camp is fun. It's a cool experience. It's right up the road here in St. Joe. It's only maybe an hour from Kansas City, about 30 minutes from where I'm at. But yeah, I didn't make it up to any practices this year, just the way the schedule was. And if anybody from the Chiefs is watching, maybe not do the season ticket member appreciation on a Wednesday afternoon, midday.
A Friday or Saturday would be great.
I mean,
yeah.
We got to work to pay for these tickets, man.
They ain't cheap.
Yeah, it's not cheap. So, but kind of was disappointed I didn't get up there and check out any practices. We saw a lot of the followers posting cool videos and things on the Twitter, the highlights, and some people got on TV up there, getting autographs. And a friend of mine's son got a football signed by Patrick Mahomes at one of the practices. He was geeking out, I guess. The kid was pumped about that. So that's cool. To me, yeah.
I forgot about that. As a guy in my mid-30s, I'd be pretty stoked to get an autograph football from Patrick Mahomes, even if it's at practice and stuff. That's so cool.
For sure.
That's so cool that they do that.
Right. Absolutely. The story is the new guys. I mean, everybody knows Patrick Mahomes is going to be good, and I'm not going to say the guy ever ceases to amaze me, but you just see the crazy circus trick throws, and we're just it's almost like we're just used to it. You just come to expect it. But some of the young guys, I mentioned Sky Moore. There's a lot of people talking about him. Seems like the guy that's creating the most buzz, though, at training camp, that's not Travis Kelce or Patrick Mahomes, is Isaiah Pacheco, the rookie running back from Rutgers, 7th-round pick. The guy's been balling out. And that's mostly what I've been seeing from the local news coverage. Yeah, he's got number 10.
He's got the Pacheco fathead on his wall already.
Yeah,
way to go, Nick.
Got it up.
Calling it early.
You should do the old Step Brothers where he cut Will Ferrell's head out of the family photo and just put a picture of him up there, right? Yeah. Just get a picture of Isaiah Pacheco's face and just tape it over Tyreek's right there in the background. But yeah, Nick, what did you say about the jersey numbers? You sent me a message, or no, we were watching the game or something. You said,
yeah, I don't know. I just was they just don't give a fuck about giving away jersey numbers.
Right. Yeah. It's Tyreek who? Number 10 going to somebody else. Rookie.
I mean, had he stayed there and retired there, number 10 might be looked at differently, but I feel like there might be a little.
I was thinking about it. Their roster at training camp going into the preseason's 80-something people, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe don't give 10 and 88 to somebody or something, But hey, look, the name of the game, right?
Yeah, Pacheco, he had the fastest 40 time of any running back at the combine.
Yeah, for sure.
Any rookies. So maybe he's the mini cheetah or something like that, or the second coming of the cheetah. We'll see.
What I've heard is that he has the same build, same stature and everything. I mean, I don't know if he's going to have the same kind of speed and everything, but I mean, it looks a lot like that fathead, actually, from what I hear.
Yeah, he does. I've heard a lot of comparisons to Kareem Hunt.
Interesting.
His elusiveness, his ability to break tackles. He's a little faster, maybe not as strong, maybe not as physical of a runner as Kareem, but if you lose a little bit there, but you make up for it with that top-end breakaway speed. Not that Kareem Hunt was slow. He had plenty of long breakaway touchdown runs. But maybe if you're even faster, you get in the open field. My guy, CEH, man, he's got to be looking over his shoulder a little bit. I don't want to hate on Clyde too much because there's a lot of viewers and a lot of people in the kingdom and on the social media that they don't like the Clyde Edwards-Helaire bashing. So we'll keep that to a minimum. But
just like his yards per carry.
There's a lot of people that are saying that they think that it's going to come down to like Clyde is 1A and maybe Pacheco is 1B, and then McKinnon could be the third down guy, the pass catching back. Old Rojo, there's a lot of people saying they don't think he's going to make the team. If you go back to a few episodes when I was being a Debbie Downer about the Tyreek Hill trade and
Oh, there he is.
I'm back.
Welcome
Sorry,
back.
Phone call.
Welcome back to Chiefs Kingdom Live. We got Scott joining us now.
Yeah, I'm back.
Hey, now you don't sound like a
That's
robot.
Clyde calling me. Wanting to know where I live. He's going to come up here and kick the shit out of me. But
Sound way better now, though.
Yeah, he
just run, you'll be fine.
Right. Yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know. I don't think I could outrun him, but I might be able to do just enough to get out of there.
So going off what you were just saying, though, talking about our running backs, dude, I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, we have CEH, whatever your opinion is about him. But then I was thinking, dude, we do have Rojo, and then we have McKinnon, right? And then, like Scott was mentioning, like this dude Pacheco is coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And if you look at the depth chart right now, I think they have Rojo or McKinnon at 2, Rojo at 3, and then Gore and all the other guys at 4, right? Like,
fighting for the spot.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, like, man, that's some good depth to have at that position. Finally, right? Like, one of those guys have got to be the guy, right?
Yeah, teams do funny stuff. Teams do funny stuff too with the depth charts this part, in the preseason and training camp, because I mean, I know they had Pacheco as the third behind Clyde and McKinnon, but he was getting reps with the first team on the opening drive.
Yeah.
And Rojo was relegated to third team duties in the second half. Did not look good. He's had a bunch of drops in camp, has not really stood out, has not shined. There's some people thinking maybe he's the odd man out. Maybe they go with a Clyde, McKinnon, Pacheco threesome there in the running back room. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that.
I mean, I was raining on everybody's parade when they signed Rojo and MVS, especially with Rojo. I just don't think he's anything special. He couldn't get on the field. He lost his job in Tampa Bay to Leonard Fournette. And the guy, he's had ball security issues. He's kind of got stone hands. He's not the greatest pass catcher. Tom Brady was kind of critical of him, and a lot of people think that the reason he didn't stick on and lost his job there in Tampa was his pass protection ability. And we don't need Patrick Mahomes getting blown up because someone missed an assignment. So it's interesting to see. Maybe they're thinking, hey, we'll put him in here at 2, and if the team's interested, someone loses a running back in one of these preseason games, maybe there's a trade for a later round pick. I don't know what you would get for a Ronald Jones, but they do some funny stuff with that. I always like to see who's getting the reps with what teams. And Clyde was in there with the ones, but the rookie was in there with the ones, and that's saying a lot for Andy Reid team.
To be honest, though, I wasn't impressed. Like, oh man, that was a great run by anybody. I mean, I know it's preseason game 1 opening drive, right? But like, there wasn't a run that like stood out to me, and that's kind of also to be expected in that.
There was a run that stood out to me. It was 2nd and 1, and we handed the ball off, and we didn't get a first down. That stood out to me.
Yeah. Well, that's
I guess I'm just so used to that now. It didn't stand out to me. Just like, oh yeah, used to that scenario.
Seen that before.
Yeah, there was a nice play by the rookie by Pacheco out in the flat. They threw the ball to him, and he dodged a tackle and turned a 1-yard loss or a no gain into like a 5-yard play there down close. I want to say it was inside the 20 or down inside close to the 10-yard line. So
right,
the guy made some plays. They were only in there for one drive, and they got him out, and he didn't play the rest of the game, which to me says they're protecting that guy a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. As far as that opening drive goes, you know what I mean? Let's talk a little bit about that. I thought everybody looked great for what it is. Again, preseason, game 1 against the Bears, first drive in front of people in a long time. But, I mean, as the stats go, I kind of have him here. Mahomes went 6 for 7, 60 yards and a tug, like not too shabby, 6 different receivers. Juju didn't even get a target. I'm not even sure that he played.
I did not see him out there.
I didn't either. But that's saying a lot to me as far as our offense goes. Our defense too. I don't have the stats for that. Look just as good. 3 and out on their opening, right?
With a sack, right?
Yeah, Chris Jones got a sack in there. So I mean,
yeah,
everything looks great so far, right?
Right. Yeah, sack on third down too. I've always felt that maybe that should be a stat in and of itself, like third down sack, because you see a lot of times a guy will get a sack on first or second down, but it moves them back. But then they've got a few more downs to adjust and get the first down. You get a sack on third down, and that's a drive killer, man. That's huge.
Yeah.
Those third down sacks are huge, and Chris Jones got in there, got the sack. Defense, it's the Bears, so let's not get too excited. First preseason game offense. But one of the linebackers, or was it Frank? No, it was Frank Clark. He ran down Justin Fields on the play, and held him to a no gain.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people saying Frank Clark is looking really lean, looking explosive again.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of came out and said that Andy Reid basically told him, "Look, man, you weren't good enough last year. You're better than that. We're paying you to be better. We need you to be better." And he manned up, and he didn't, out, put his head down and cry about it. He said, "Coach is right." He said, "We're both from LA, man. He's keeping it real with me. He's told me why you wasn't good enough." He goes, and
he quit drinking, right? So says he quit drinking alcohol, eating better, right?
Oh yeah.
So
okay, so
Willie Gay looked great. Another guy sorry to kind of jump in on that. That guy was noticeable to me, dude. He was flying around. I mean, he missed a tackle, but still was in the mix so much, so often. I was excited to see him looking really good.
Yeah. George Karlaftis had a sack. It was on a play like Nick had mentioned. It's like a high motor play where he just didn't give up on the play and got rewarded with a sack. He didn't quit.
Yeah, it was kind of a coverage sack, but he still got there, right? I mean,
yeah, a sack's a sack. It goes into the record books all the same. So
it looked to me that they had Nick Bolton as or not Nick Bolton. Bolton as it's Nick Bolton, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Nick Bolton.
As the mic guy, the guy that has the headset, right? Didn't he have the sticker on his helmet? So he's the
Green
one.
dot.
They're running the plays through him now. So second year guy running plays for the team.
Yeah. Anthony Hitchens was that guy. He's obviously gone now. So the youth movement is noticeable, and guys stepped up and played well. A guy that played with I'm not sure if he got into the seconds, but he played a lot later in the game. Leo Chanel, he's kind of a work in progress, kind of a clay guy. They're hoping they can mold him into something. I think he led all players with 7 or 8 tackles. You like to see that guy getting in there, making plays. Even if it's against the seconds or thirds, he's still in there. There's guys in there with the seconds and thirds not making plays. So you like to see that. Sky Moore had a couple nice plays. Looked like maybe he's going to soak up some of these cheetah plays, targets, touches, whatever you want to call it. They had one of those like jet sweep looking plays where he got the ball. Blocking wasn't all that great on it. It was not a big play, and then he made a nice catch on the sideline where he got both, got dragged the toes, got both feet in down. It was a nice pickup. It was good to see after hearing good things about him in camp to actually go out on the field and do it is completely different than doing it in practice. So exciting. Could you guys seen the first preseason game going any better than it did?
I mean, a win would have been preferable, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's third versus fourth string. And hats off to my dad, who's a Bears fan, texting me, "Go Bears." I told him they have a pretty impressive fourth string there. Hats off to them, right?
I mean, yeah, at the end of the half, it was 14-0?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if the ones would have continued, if that would have been a regular season game, that would have been a 38-10 beatdown. So
yeah, it was.
It was
a impressive showing from the ones. How do you guys feel about them? I know there's like a lot of coaches now, like my guys in it all during the preseason. How do you feel about that, Bo?
What'd you say? Sorry, my internet.
They're just not putting. A lot of lot of coaches now and a lot of fans get upset that they're playing guys in the preseason at all. Like, getting Mahomes and them out there, getting them reps in the preseason. How do you feel about that?
I'm 100% for it, man. The sooner they can get dust knocked off there, like the better to me. I understand the risk of risking injury there, but they ran one drive. I know the potential's there on any play, but I feel like these guys are also professionals. They need to get out there and start doing their job a little bit. I like the way they run it. I think the NFL knows what they're doing as far as like introducing the starters to the game. Like it's usually like the first drive of the first game. Next game is probably going to be maybe 4 or 5 drives, maybe even a quarter. I doubt a quarter, right? So like it's a slow introduction. So I feel like they're pretty risk adverse when it comes to introducing starters to the game. But I'm for it. What about you, Scott?
Yeah, I like getting in there and getting the rust knocked off. And the Chiefs are one of these teams now too, because of where they their whole training camp. There's not another team nearby, so they don't have these inter squad scrimmages or whatever you want to call them. Practices where you get out there and you get a little bit different competition. So I think it's good. I think the key players, the veteran guys, especially Travis, Patrick, those guys aren't going to go out there and do anything dumb and dive headfirst trying to get a couple extra yards. They're not going to put themselves in danger. They understand what the preseason's for. They know how important they are to the team. You saw, and he's not even a rookie, but he's a second-year player. Wilson for the Jets got injured on a dumb play, like trying to extend a play and get a few more yards, and ended up getting hurt. He's going to be out, looks like a month now with a knee injury. I don't think you have to worry about that with Patrick. He did scramble once, but he didn't. He just kind of like moved up out of the pocket and threw a pass pretty quickly. He was never in harm's way.
Yeah, especially with his talent.
It's like you could see him go, "Oh man, I really can't run this," and he's like, "Nah, I guess I'll just throw it across my body for a first down."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then later in the game, did you see Bouchel try to do the same thing, throw it back across his body?
Didn't work out.
It was almost intercepted, and it was and Trent Green was on the play-by-play here locally for the Chiefs coverage of the game, and he was like, "Yeah, it's there's only a few guys in the league can get away with that, but he's gonna wish he had that one back."
Right. But, by its nature, football is just dangerous, right? Players get hurt at practice. Look, sure. Nicole Hardman and Chris Jones got hurt today at practice. So, it's a dangerous sport. But, as far as introducing it to a live game, it's what these guys do. I think thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I like it. I don't want to play the whole game. I think you'll see them out there maybe a handful of drives. And it'll probably depend on how they look. If they come out against Washington Saturday – and they go march right down the field and put another touchdown, another 7 on the board, I think you'll see them out early.
For sure.
Yeah. Same.
So
how about he has always had teams that historically start out fast, and I just wonder if that's part of the reason that he knows how to get them ramped up and ready to go. Is where maybe some of these. Do you guys remember when Todd Haley just totally blew off the preseason? He's like, well, this is essentially like practice, and then our team was just garbage.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot to be said for getting out there, especially with all the new receivers, new running back group, getting out there, getting some confidence built, seeing if people are, even the people where the ball didn't go, right? Oh, this guy didn't run the right route. We need to work with this person here. I think there's a lot of value in that the other teams miss. And then you're trying to figure it out in live action in an NFL game. And then, that could increase the risk of people getting hurt if they're not doing the right stuff, right? So
sure.
If you guys are watching live, let us know what you guys think. You guys think players should hold off, or do you think they should get back into the game right away? Let us know what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah, certainly. Shoot us a comment. Say hello. Feels good to be back, man. Talking to Chiefs.
Right?
It's been a while. So,
Season 2.
Yeah, I'm just really excited about the youth movement and some of the players. Another guy that had a big game was Justin Watson. He's a guy that came over from Tampa Bay, kind of raised some eyebrows, got Patrick Mahomes' attention in the offseason, and he came out and he had 60, 70 yards and a touchdown. That was a laser touchdown by Michelle. I was giving him a hard time about the back across the body, across the field. Horrible, but that was a laser touch. I mean, that looked like Patrick back there slinging that ball. And Patrick was pumped on the sideline. You could see he was jumping up and down.
Jumping up and down.
And he was high-fiving guys. Like, maybe the Chiefs got something there in Watson. Who knows? Kind of an unheralded guy, an under-the-radar signing, but he's fast. There was a story back when the Chiefs, when Patrick Mahomes and the receivers and Travis Kelce were kind of working down in Texas, he texted Veach and was like, "Yo, who's this Watson guy? Like this dude, what was this 40? How fast did you say you ran?" He's pretty fast, and he got out there, and that's what it's all about in preseason is taking advantage of your opportunities.
Yeah, completely. You got to showcase what you got when in the right opportunity, right? Like those guys only get so many snaps, and yeah, when you get them, take advantage of them.
Yeah, got to make the most of it.
Those guys go too. Like you said, I'm glad the young guys are stepping up. Like you said, it's so cool to like watch this and like not only that, but like watch the veterans not be like, I don't know, for a better term or lack of a better term, dickheads to the new guys, right? There's not so much like rookie hazing anymore. It's more of like an apprenticeship, right? Like they still expect hard work, but like they actually like show rookies what's up now and stuff like that. Like I really appreciate the attitude the veterans have on our team too. Yeah, sorry.
It's good culture, man. That's what it is.
Nick threw us a trivia question in a little private text thread that we got going on between the three of us about the most senior players on the team, and Patrick Mahomes is the third, like the longest tenured player on the Chiefs now.
We should here. I'll read that question out, and first person to comment, I don't know, we'll get him something, a shout out or something. It was Mahomes is now the third longest tenured player on the team. Can you name the other two that have been on the team longer? First person.
Well, one of these is obvious, right?
We'll get you something.
Yeah, one is obvious, one is not obvious.
Yeah, I got the first one right away. I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. And then it's just
I'll buy the person with the winning answer Super Bowl tickets this year. So, or maybe not.
Right next to mine. Right next to mine.
They may not. I got be a photocopy of a Super Bowl ticket. It'll be a Super Bowl ticket.
It's from last year.
I got it right in the text thread. So does that mean I got Super Bowl tickets on you for Super Bowl this year?
Yeah, you can buy you Super Bowl tickets whenever you want.
Right.
Well, we got comments going off.
Well, we got Kelsey.
Elaine got Kelsey right off the bat. Kelsey and yeah, Kelsey's the right first one.
Right. That's the easy one.
That was the easy one.
Yeah, but to just think that he's been on the team longer than 95% of the roster now is just, where does the time go, man?
Right. It
feels like
he's brand new, and you're like, oh my god, he has so much left, so much more to develop. Like I'm still so excited.
I think it's more of a statement about how young our roster is, right? Than that Mahomes has been there that long. It's incredible that there just aren't that many people that long because all right, so Elaine here has commented Chris Jones, which was my guess because like any really bright person, when I asked this question, I didn't know the answer to it. Well, I guess
which was hilarious with Nick responding with the wrong answer, by the way. It's like,
I was incorrect.
Yeah.
So in the meantime,
we have the Commanders.
Yeah.
Preseason 2. Week 2.
We are coming up against the Commanders for sure.
Second preseason game Saturday, Washington Commanders at Arrowhead Stadium.
Nice. I feel
be interesting to see how long the starters and the first team units are in there. Washington.
All right, so I'll pose this question to you guys then. Do you think it's better to have like weak preseason opponents? Like I'm not going to say like the Bears, like any NFL team's weak, but like let's say the Bears, the Commanders, they're not like top tier teams. Would you rather be going against Buffalo, Tampa, Green Bay, something like that in preseason? Like really test what you got?
Yeah, I mean it couldn't hurt. I guess. I mean, I don't really know that it matters that much. It depends on what game it is too. Like the Chiefs they do play Green Bay in the third and final preseason game, but how much are the ones going to play? In that game, they've kind of treat that game like the old fourth preseason game where the starters
They just sit out.
they'd mail that in. So I don't know. There's some good players. I mean, there's some tests on there. Washington, they got Terry McLaurin. That'd be good. Maybe see if the secondary, how long he plays, if they can shadow him, maybe hold him down.
Carson Wentz, bro.
Yeah, they got Carson Wentz.
Right. Yeah.
They got the defensive end Chase Young, who's an animal. So that'd be good to see if maybe Orlando Brown or one of them guys, see how they handle him. Just depends on how much action they get. I think the starters will probably play a half, maybe.
You think so?
Play it in the
I was
second
thinking
quarter.
less than a quarter, dude. Again, I think we're
Well,
going to see
I don't
what
know.
we saw again. Maybe
It's
a
so
couple
hard to
more
tell.
drives.
It's really hard to tell now because it used to be they would play like a series in the first game. Then the second game they might play a couple. Then the third game they would play like a half, and sometimes the starters, depending on how they did too. If they didn't have success, if they didn't look good, they would leave them in longer. And then the fourth game was basically they used that to trim the final guys off to get down onto the 53-man roster. So,
Right.
but
I
now
want
they
to
don't
break in
have
real
that.
quick and say that Frank Clark was not the correct answer. So we're still waiting for.
Oh, there was a Frank Clark there. No,
Yeah.
no, not Frank
No.
Clark.
Not Frank Clark, unfortunately. But, Patrick Mahomes, it seems like just the other day he was throwing 6 touchdowns on the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I was just.
So last season, Ashley and I came out for the game, a preseason game against the Vikings, right? It was week 3. So it was our third game, right? I distinctly remember Mahomes played a quarter. And that was the third preseason game. So, like, that's why I'm saying, like.
That would have been the last one.
Right. And I don't see any reason to play him longer than a quarter, but I do see him playing a quarter, but I don't see him playing a half or longer.
Yeah. Well, it depends a lot, too, on how much. I mean, if you get 1 possession or 5 possessions in the first quarter or 2, like.
Yeah.
I mean, if the defense gets you a couple 3 and outs and you get the starters in and they get a good 2 possessions under the belt right off the bat, it could be an early day for them. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be some tests, and there's some decent players on Washington. They're not a playoff team. I don't think anybody's expecting them to make the playoffs or challenge their division this year.
Right.
But
for me, I feel like the Chiefs are in a position they don't want to give too much away because, like,
no,
it was one of the first years that, like, the entire receiving core is like all question marks except for Kelsey in my mind, right? Like, I mean, you kind of have Mecole Hardman in there, like he's. I mean, dependable, but like he's not like the most productive receiver by any means. But like everybody else, it's just like, what are they going to do with Mahomes at the helm? And like, I think it, like you saw, it went 6 for 7 to 6 different receivers. I could expect a lot of that this year. And like, why would you want to play a half and show like your game plan essentially, especially with what did I say something? Mecole Hardman? Did I say something different?
No.
Oh, they're guessing. They're still guessing.
Still guessing. So don't guess.
I have a terrible like problem of getting players' names mixed up. So I thought I said.
Oh, that's okay. Kayla Covington has guessed Mecole Hardman. That is also not a correct answer. But welcome to the show, Kayla. Thanks for commenting.
That's not a bad guess, though. He's been here for a little while now. I mean, he was drafted 3 seasons ago. He's probably one. I mean, he's
one of them now, right?
Tenured wide receiver now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the longest tenured wide receiver. So,
but going to like what I was saying, man, like you don't want to give away too much too early. So like I could see them like restricting them just for that fact alone, right? Because the whole NFL, all defenses across the NFL are looking at them with bated breath to get some footage, more than 6 throws. I mean, like everybody game plans against him. So I think that you're going to see like a lot of reserve play from the starters our entire preseason.
Yeah, maybe we should give a hint on the trivia question here. What do you think? A hint?
Yeah.
Should we go with my bad joke that I made in the text thread?
No, it's not Buckner.
No.
That's Butker, not Buckner. Yeah, see, thanks, Caleb. Appreciate it.
Booker's a pretty good guess. He's been there for a minute.
He's been there for a while, but
3 years.
here's a hint. It is a special teams player. So
That's the hint I was thinking. Special teams.
Special teams player. But yeah, so this game coming up here, week 2 against Washington. Yeah, Andy Reid definitely likes to kind of keep his bullets in his pocket. He doesn't like to show his cards, so to speak, especially not in the preseason. He's always got those first couple of games, those gotcha plays where he's designed, schemed something up, cooked something up in the lab of his. And for a couple of years ago, it was that pop pass thing where the guy would run across and Patrick would just kind of toss it forward on the jet sweep. And then last year and the year before, it was the kind of like the quick shovel pass.
Or the underhand.
Yeah, and then he did the underhand thing last year. So I guarantee you week 1.
God, I hope it's not behind the back. Oh, my God.
I hope it is. I mean, I hope it is if it works.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right
now.
now.
If it works, that's fine. But, dude, oh, God.
He's going to throw a behind-the-back pass in the game this season, Bo.
My palms just got sweaty thinking about that, like how much anxiety that's going to cause me.
And I'm going to – that's a bold statement to say that he's definitely going to do it. He's going to do it to somebody that's wide open and doesn't have a defender within like 20 yards of him on like a gadgety trick kind of play where they completely fool the defense and get someone wide open. But
I could see him doing it to a lineman, dude. Like just some weird play, dude. Just behind the back to Allegretti or something again. Get another thick 6 in there this year. Like oh my God.
6. What was the touchdown pass they threw to Eric Fisher a couple years ago? What was the name of that play?
Smoked fish or catch and release?
Catch and release. That was it.
Catch and release.
Catch and release. That was a sweet play against the Ravens.
We got a winner.
Ding 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 ding.
Yeah.
Winchester.
James Winchester. That's the correct answer. He is the second longest tenured player on the Chiefs roster, the long snapper. And the only reason I got that was because I remembered somehow from last season an episode of Defending the Kingdom with Mitch Holthus. They do that during the season. And they do some offseason. They talked about Winchester and how long he had been on the team, and that just stuck in my head somehow. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how it happened, but.
So for everyone watching, Nick sent that to Scott and I in a text thread, and Scott knew that off the top of his head, like immediately. I had to text. I was like, "Did you actually know that, or did you have to look it up?" He's like, "No, I knew that. I looked it up and confirmed it once." Nick started guessing.
I was like,
himself.
"Who in the fuck is Winchester?"
Right, yeah. Well, when you're super cool and you've got a really fast-paced, exciting life like mine, that's how you know meaningless Chiefs trivia like that. But, old Winchester, man, he's been on there a long time. It's 2013 he was drafted, so he's going it was 15 because Kelsey was – that's right, 2015.
Makes me wonder what the turnover rate for long snapper position is, if it is like a tenured, like 6-7 year position.
It's one of those positions where teams struggle to find a good one, and then when you find a good one, they're on the team forever because they're hard to find. Kendall Gammon, who most of Chiefs Kingdom and all of Chiefs Kingdom should know who Kendall Gammon is. He was a long snapper in the league forever, man. It's just one of those it's kind of like I'm not going to say it's a lost art, but it's one of those positions where if you find somebody good, you just hang on to them and they stick around for a long, long time because you just don't come by them every day.
Right.
Another special teams. I'm sorry, go ahead, Bill.
No, I was going to say, Elaine, we'll get you something nice, definitely. She's asking, what did I win? LOL. These two will get you something real nice, I promise.
A ticket to a Chiefs game with me this year. How about that? Although I think I already told her.
Dang, if that was the prize, I would have went in on this guy.
Yeah.
Actually, I am going to a Chiefs game with you. It's just not in Kansas City.
Right. Yeah, looking forward to that. We're going to be out
this
there.
Game right here.
Phoenix week 1. And we got a little bit of a surprise. I don't want to give it away too quick in case it falls through, but we got something in the works for like a kickoff episode opening weekend of the season in Arizona. But
Kayla says you win the ability to sound as cool as Scott.
So. Yeah, see, there you go. Thanks, Kayla. That's awful nice of you. Going back to special teams, talking about James Winchester. How about Eric Reed, man? Justin Reed. Justin Reed kicking an extra point, man. The safety, dude, got in there and he nailed that sucker too, man.
No, he split the uprights on that.
He did.
Do you see the talk of adding him as like the third string field goal kicker and like trying him out?
He said he's got the backup kicker position on lock in the game broadcast, the Chiefs broadcast anyway.
We kicked a 65-yarder at training camp, right? I mean, nobody in front of him. But...
that would be no line, no rush or anything. But still, you take a football. If you got a football and you got any kind of uprights, or just even take it out in the yard and stand it up on the ground on end, see how far you can kick it in the air than making it upright. It's not as easy.
It ain't going 65 yards if I
not at 65 yards either.
I'm talking to like 6.5 yards. Most people could probably make a field goal. But yeah, that was kind of cool. The team was going wild on the sidelines.
Dude, there's potentially a scenario out there for him, which I think is so cool. That, like, you know, if that were to happen, if he were to become the backup kicker, right, where like our kicker got hurt, pulls a hammy or something, you know, not out of the realm of possibility, where he could step in and not only like get an interception or a pick six in a game, but then like go on to also win a game with a game-winning field goal. Like, I think he might be one of the only players in history to like have that opportunity in front of him.
Reminds me of when who was that? Was that Drew Bledsoe or Doug Flutie that did the drop kick?
It was Doug Flutie.
Yeah, Doug Flutie for the Patriots, right?
I don't remember the team.
I think he did it for the Patriots. He kicked an extra point as a drop kick.
Was it the yeah, you're probably right.
I remember he did one. I don't know if he was.
Can't remember which team it was.
I think maybe it was somebody more recent. I don't know. I mean, this ain't Patriots Kingdom Live, so I don't really care. But stuff like that. Stuff like that is really just good team building, and like the team has fun with things like that. I remember playing soccer in high school. We had a meaningless game at the end of the season, and this kid, his name was Mike, he always played goalie. This kid played goalie every game, never got to play in the field. And coach put him in out there, I want to say like up at like center or one of the strikers out there on the wings the last game of the season. I think like our junior or senior year. And this dude went out there and he scored a banger. I mean, he had a rocket goal. Like, dude, everybody on the team was freaking out. It was great. I remember that still to this day. So, yeah, that's cool stuff when a guy gets to go out and do something that, you know, doesn't normally get to do. Especially kick an extra point. That's just not – I mean, I never saw the Honey Badger kick an extra point, but
I just think that'd be awesome if he actually goes through with it and like gets that opportunity to pull something off like that in a game. That'd be. I
mean, his percentage is better than Butker's, you know.
Yep.
1 for 1 at 65.
Right.
Dude, Butker's a solid kicker, though. By the way,
he is.
Get some kicker.
Yeah, no, he's a great kicker. Points are just a little.
Like, I've never been like you know, like, I don't know, one to hate on kickers by any means, but like I love our kicking core. Like, we have Tommy Townsend and Butker. Like, I trust those guys in both their roles respectively completely. Like that, there's no worry in those two guys for me.
Having a kicker that's nails from long distance that's a weapon that a lot of teams
completely.
That's a luxury a lot of other teams don't have. That the Chiefs do, and that's an advantage. You saw the game against Buffalo last year in the playoffs.
Yeah,
nailed it to send it to overtime.
Yeah.
So yeah, that the special teams, the kickers, the Chiefs, they've got good players all around the field. I mean, it's offense, defense, special teams. I think if you see Reed kicking an extra point or a field goal in the regular season, things have gone terribly, terribly wrong. I don't think it's something.
We're terribly right, and we're up by like 30 points or something.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like when we played the Raiders last year, we were up. What was that, like 118 to nothing in the third quarter?
Yeah, I think it was that.
The logo game? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I'm talking about the logo game. Where But I thought it was a good idea to come out and jump on the logo before the game started. And then promptly fumbled the first carry of the drive for a scoop and score touchdown for the Chiefs, and they never looked back. And I want to say they beat them. What was that game? That game was like 49-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
Points,
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
It was the largest margin of victory between the two teams in the history of the two franchises going head to head. I do know that.
Have you seen these guys like Rich Eisen and like even like it was mentioned on the Pat McAfee show, right? That like the Chiefs are like ranked third. They're putting the Chiefs third or fourth in the division, right? And like I have to like remind the people I talk with, like, do you not remember these games last year? Like we became part owners in all those teams. Like we whooped those teams so bad. Like, yeah, Patrick Mahomes has stake in all those teams now. I don't know why people are just so quick to hop on the Russell Wilson bandwagon when Denver has nobody, or Justin Herbert when he didn't even prove himself last year. Like it baffles me that these guys still think that way.
Well, the Chargers are the preseason AFC West, AFC Championship, AFC champions, and Super Bowl champions every year. So I don't even pay attention to that anymore.
MVP. Remember they were calling for Justin Herbert like week 3. He's like, oh, this kid's gonna be MVP for sure.
New Mahomes. He's like new Coke. He's better than Coke. He's better than Mahomes.
Yeah.
He's never been to the playoffs. So, and he threw 2 interceptions in the second half to lose to the Houston Texans to give them one of their 3 wins last year. So yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe I think back when the Patriots were just waxing everybody and going to the Super Bowl every other year for all those years with Tom Brady. And even going back like to the Cowboys dynasties, people just get tired of seeing the same teams win over and over and over. And everybody wants to be that person that predicts the upset, right?
Yeah.
And then next year, no one's going to remember that they picked the Chargers to win the division the last 5 years, and they didn't even make the playoffs. So, yeah, I don't know. It is probably slow. I'm not going to lie.
Nick, I know you watch Pat McAfee. What is it? How do you feel, dude, when they put the Chiefs at 4 or even 3?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's hilarious. I mean, I was watching Colin Cowherd, and I think he had number 3 is the Broncos, and number 4 is the Chiefs, and number 5 is the Chargers. And it was just like, the Broncos? Like, they haven't done shit. They haven't beat us since, what did we say? That was the iPhone 6S or whatever was that the last time they beat us? Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Obama was president, remember?
Yeah. 2 presidents ago.
Yeah. I mean,
it's funny, and it's even funnier now. Like this week, all of them have been like low key, like hedging that. Rich Eisen came out, and I mean everybody's like, oh, it's like, oh yeah, it took 1 preseason drive for people to go, oh, they got Patrick Mahomes. That guy's gonna be really good. It doesn't matter that he doesn't.
Can you believe he hit 6 different targets? Like,
oh my god.
Who would have thought that?
It's like he could throw the ball to other people too. I never thought about that. Like it's just
that's got to be like the hot take, right? For all those guys to be like, oh yeah, Chiefs are 3rd, right? And that's like the outlandish thing to say. So everybody's just like, what is this guy even talking about?
Right. Clickbait is a big part of it. Hot takes,
right?
General stupidity, whatever you want to call it. And it's got to, dude, it has to motivate the team.
Right, because they see it.
There's no way they don't see it, and there's no way Patrick Mahomes doesn't see that he's being picked 3rd in the division. And, I mean, you've seen it. Like, when they played the Bears a couple years ago, and he trounced them, and he was doing the counting to, like, 10, like, really? They picked Trubisky over me? The Lamar Jackson, what was it when – they had him as the NFL number 1 in the NFL 100, and he was number like 6 or number 5 or something, and he just waxed the Ravens on Monday Night Football and was doing the counting thing and was like, "Really? What? Are you kidding me?" Like the dude sees it, and he takes it personal a little bit, and the team sees it.
I I have yet to see the whole thing, but there was that Tom Brady documentary, The Man in the Arena, and he talks about it, like watching. I mean, even that Jordan documentary, they talk about like, no, yeah, we watched it, and it just fed me, right? And it just
Jordan was like had to invent things that people didn't say because everybody talked about how good he was. So he would like make up things that people didn't say to get himself mad.
Right. Do you think when the Chargers players or their fans or like Justin Herbert sees those things, they're like, man, fucking quit giving them extra shit.
It's like when your girlfriend's like talking shit to a much bigger dude than you. You're like, my boyfriend will kick your ass. Like, shut the fuck
up. Exactly. Yeah.
I would like to apologize on behalf of.
Right. Exactly. But yeah, I don't know. They got to be watching that, thinking, can y'all like just pick the Chiefs again this year, please? Like,
did you not see what he did to Lamar Jackson? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's season's right around the corner, and they looked good, and they've looked good in training camp, and there's a lot of young players. I don't know. I mean, what else? Like, is there anything else you guys have seen here? Training camp, the first preseason game that you guys want to talk about? It stood out to you?
So one of the things that has been another hot topic, because it, which my take on this is going to maybe sound a little anti-Mahomes, but definitely not. But like, is the contracts and everything, and somehow they've engineered this, and Mahomes has helped engineer this into like him signing a $400 million contract. He's also like, he's also the guy that like is all about the team. Which is to me is like really funny. Like it's like they also signed like the biggest contract ever. Now it's not guaranteed, right? And these other guys are getting more per year and more guaranteed money, but there is a lot of talk about that in the amount of money that the quarterbacks are making, and Mahomes like generally making less. Have you guys seen that? I mean, I don't know. It kind of makes me chuckle, like, because I get that what they're saying is that, since he's not going to get to re-up and he's not going to hit the new market with the new, the new valuations or whatever. But at the same time, it's like he also like signed a $400 million contract, right? So
500 million, right?
Yeah, up to 500, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I don't know the Kyler Murray contract was ridiculous. That dude is not that good.
Right.
When I saw that, I thought, how can
one hell of an agent, dude? That dude's got one hell of an agent.
Either that or the Cardinals are just dumb.
Like, and then they had to put like the study time clause in there, and then that blew up, and they took it out, and like
even that though is how do you watch what Patrick Mahomes has done? If you and I guess
I think that you could command more than that, right?
How do you go in and ask for more than what Patrick Mahomes is getting? Like the guy's been in the AFC Championship game every year as a starter. He's already won an MVP. He's already won a Super Bowl. He's already won a Super Bowl MVP. If I'm another team, I'm like, look, man, like Patrick is here, and you're gonna go somewhere. Like you're not getting realistic. Like that's not happening. If you don't like it, go elsewhere. Let some other team overpay you.
It's like if you like go to the store and like you put on some clothes that are kind of flashy that you've seen other people wear, and then like your girlfriend or wife is like, they can wear that. You can't wear that.
Well, that's never happened to me, but I'll take.
Yeah, well, we're not all as good looking as you, Scott. But
you're right.
Going back to your like original question though, Nick, like the conspiracy theorist to me thinks that it's like a ploy by the owners to try to get players to take less money, man. Like, I don't know, like that's hot take, whatever. But no, I mean the salary cap's changing next year or the year after that, right? So like players will be able to get more money, but I don't think that's really going to serve to your point what's going on. I think everybody just wants to see that like Tom Brady attitude or take less money, get more weapons around you. Like, why not? You have so much money, right? Is that what you're maybe kind of alluding to there with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what, everybody's saying, well, Patrick cares more about his legacy than these other guys. And I like it because it makes him look good, and he even came out and he said like the way he's phrased it, because he's really slick with the media. was, like, yeah, I know that Herbert and Burrow are going to end up like coming out after me, and the next guy is always going to be the top paid guy and the biggest ever, and they're going to make more money than me. But like, I signed a contract that makes me more money than like I need. And like, and then there's all the endorsements and stuff too, right?
Right.
Like when you win, you get endorsements. And so, like Patrick Mahomes has transcended the sport, and you see him like everywhere. And, you don't see some of these other guys getting those deals, right? So
That's for sure.
yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of, it just made me chuckle because he signed such a blockbuster deal, and everybody's talking about the $400-500 million number, but now it's like they're like, yeah, like they're acting like he like signed for like peanuts or something. I don't know, it just
a big difference between his contract and these other guys is his is stretched out over like 10 years.
Yeah, so makes a difference too.
You can get that average per down, but
it's still so much money. It's still so much money per year.
He's still making more than they are total over the.
But he's still in the $40 million range this year, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, yeah. He's not underpaid, but no, and he plays it off good too. And I mean, I've told people like that dude just on endorsements, not even his NFL, he'll turn down probably more money than I'll ever make in a lifetime. Sure. So, the guy's obviously not worried about money.
It's weird though, because like I see both sides of it, kind of, right? Like, yeah, that at a certain point you do just make hand over fist money, and like we were kind of having this discussion with when Tyreek Hill left for an extra $4 million a year when you're already making $25 million a year, right? Like it's just kind of like, how much more do you need? But on an individual basis, you're like, this is so much money. Like I get both sides completely, but I don't know. I'm kind of the opinion I like to see, like somebody like that take a little less money, get way better weapons, or keep better weapons around them, and then bring in some badass weapons too with that. Like, I don't know. I'm still kind of upset about losing number 10 a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and part of that's we got to pay. I mean, that was kind of one of the other things that I thought, right? It's like, well, like they're acting like he's Mother Teresa, but like, well, we did like not keep Tyreek Hill this year.
Yeah.
Right? Part of that's because of the money that's kicked in with Mahomes' contract. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
And
when you start talking about that amount of money and you realize it's just $4 million, like, yo, Patrick, kick this dude $4 million and like keep passing to this guy.
Right.
I wonder, do you think, and I see Doug's got a question here about the defense. We'll get to that in a second, but I'd be interested to see. I've kind of got this working theory that I've come up with in my head that like something happened between Tyreek and like the Chiefs and Patrick and them guys, because they've kind of taken some. Tyreek has not been shy about it. He's kind of said some things, and of course he's not going to go in and say that, oh no, Tua is nowhere near as good as Patrick, because he's got to play with Tua now. So but he's kind of gone out of his way to kind of like say some things that were unnecessary, really,
or just completely outlandish.
Yeah, or really outlandish and unnecessary. And there's been some comments about like Travis, where like that stat came out where he has the most receiving yards the last 6 years of any player, including every wide receiver to play the last 6 years.
Right.
And George Kittle was like, and this dude's getting paid less than half of the 10th highest paid wide receiver. And Travis Kelce was like, well, I play for legacy, not money.
And they also gave him $3 million extra this year too, didn't they?
Right. And Patrick Mahomes has kind of made some things like, oh, I can't believe how tall my receivers are now. Like, I've made some throws I thought were overthrows, and the guys were able to get it. Like, it almost seemed like a veiled shot at Tyreek because he was shorter. And then the way the trade went down, it seemed like it just happened over lunch break. Like, there was a rumor that he was on the trade block, and then by the time I got off work later that day, he was gone. Do you think something happened there?
Yeah, go ahead. I got some noise here real quick.
Yeah, I don't know if there was anything interpersonal that happened between them. I think that they had a deal that they were working out and everything was copacetic. And then the Devontae Adams deal happened. And I think that Tyreek's agent and him got together and were like, well, this just blew that all to shit. And we gotta go back to the table now and say, well, this is now the new standard by which we'll be measured against. And Tyreek Hill is more of a unique talent than Davante Adams, right? Because he is. I mean, there's just things that Tyreek Hill can do on the football field that other people can't. So they were like, well, so I think that Tyreek Hill took it as like, it's disrespectful if I'm not the highest paid because that's what I should be. And the Chiefs were like, yeah, we totally agree with that. And if you want to try to seek that out, then we'll let you go seek that out. But this is the deal that we can offer you. And I think that turned things kind of sour for Tyreek. And then he shot out. And then, when you have guys like, and I know that I was just saying Mahomes signed a huge deal, but like it is seen as a team friendly deal because of the length of the contract and some of the flexibility and them optioning his money in different ways. And Travis Kelce has kind of done the same thing. And then they see that he's like, hey, like I want all the money that I can get. I need to be the top, paid guy ever. Maybe that's where some of that's come from. And then maybe some of it's just reality, right? Mahomes is like, oh, I thought I overthrew that ball and that guy caught it. There's maybe some limitations that Tyreek Hill did have, even though he is an incredible player that, maybe Mahomes is just being honest and it sounds like a shot. But maybe they are a little sour about him leaving, because they kind of had a thing going. And it's like, hey, like, I made some sacrifices. Kelce made some sacrifices, but you don't want to make sacrifices to keep this thing together and keep this thing going. I mean, I don't know, like when we get that contract offer and then Bo says that he wants to be making the $30 million and Scott and I need to take $20 million for Chiefs Kingdom Live, like we're going to make
it's a look tax.
Yeah.
Beard tax.
Yeah. I mean, I can't grow a beard. That's not fair, like.
Right. Neither can I.
So.
No, dude, I think you hit it right on the head there when you pointed out that Davante Adams contract, man. I think Tyreek Hill was in and ready to roll. I mean, like all of his social media was pointing that way. There was no animosity or no sign of like, I'm out of here right now or even this year kind of thing. And then that contract happened with Adams and he's just like, wait, I'm the best receiver in the NFL, which I mean, he is arguably right. Like if you're having a conversation with somebody, it's between him and Davante. So I mean, like
the best that's up for a contract right now.
That's what I should be demanding, man.
Right.
And unfortunately, as much as we love him, it is a business, and that's why I say I get both sides, dude. And like it's as Scott pointed out, it's so much money. Are you turning down $30 million? You know what I mean? You're just like, right. Yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah, it was just interesting. Like I said, I thought that they kind of like the three of them were like taking jabs at one another after the whole thing went down. I just wondered if maybe there was something that happened before the trade. You know what I mean? But it sounds like you guys think it was just the trade and kind of the fallout of what happened that kind of maybe – and it could be nothing because Patrick and Travis, they didn't like come out and say Tyreek's name. You know what I mean? But
right.
The comments
they're also not
the way
they guys that are going to do that.
Kind of made it sound like they were veiled shots at Tyreek because those were the big three. Those guys were – I mean, you look – since when has there been a trio of weapons and offensive players like that in the NFL?
Right. It's been a minute.
I mean, Travis Kelce might arguably be the greatest of all time tight end. Tyreek Hill on track for a Hall of Fame career. Patrick Mahomes on track for a Hall of Fame greatest of all time, maybe statistically. I don't know if he'll ever get to the Super Bowl number that Tom Brady did, but yeah, it's just interesting. I don't know. It's just kind of something I've thought about as I've seen more and more kind of interviews and some things that the guys have said in the media after the trade. But any predictions about our defense?
Yeah, I was thinking about this earlier, actually. I'm a little nervous. I mean, I know like we were talking about them earlier, right? Everybody was looking lively, looking good. But there's also that caveat. It's preseason, week 1 against the Bears, right? So there's like nothing to really hang your hat on any of those performances, really. And like I was thinking about this earlier. We got like a bunch of young guys, which is like it's great that they're stepping up and looking good, but come to some veteran quarterbacks in this league, like that's going to be like where my question marks are for our defense. I know we have a his name, McDuffie. He's going to be a rookie playing out deep. So like that was one of our concerns last year. So I mean, it'd be interesting. I bet you they test him right away. Right. Other than that, though, I thought our defense looked great, dude. I think we're in a better position than we were at the start of last year. But I wouldn't be surprised if we had a shaky start like we did last year, kind of going like. Not like since 1950s records bad, but I don't see us having like an all-star defense right off the bat with this young crew and some like pretty key positions being covered by rookies.
Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic. I mean, they looked good in the Bears game, but we talked about this last year. We had a decent amount of talent on the team last year. Definitely more talent than what the result was, right? I felt like talent levels here and performance was here, and I mean the defensive coordinator is still the same, right? So
John B in the
John
house.
B.
Let's go, son.
It's in the chat. No, I mean I feel like the coaches are the same, and so we can get a bunch of new players, but I don't know. I'm optimistic, but I'm not as hopeful as I'd like to be. I mean, that first drive was great, but it was against the Bears, right? And they're kind of been a train wreck, so it's hard to say. And that one good or two good drives against a shitty team in the preseason, is really all that much to be excited about. So we'll see. I mean, Spags has done well enough for us to win in the past, but I just think the MO of this team since Andy Reid has been there has been. The offense is going to carry us, and we're going to hope the defense is good enough to just not blow it for us. And so, that's kind of what I would expect going forward until proven otherwise. So,
Corey, YouTube had enough of Scott's bullshit from John V there.
Well, I mean,
never.
There's always rumble if they do, John.
If they haven't canceled the locker room rant yet, then I think we're fine.
Yeah, we're just safe.
Exactly. But that's our buddy John from the Locker Room Rant. Go check out his show. Give him a subscription. Give him a like. Give him a watch. It's hilarious. I go watch it. That's all I'm gonna say. But
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I love it, dude. There's some things you guys do. I'm not gonna give any spoilers away that just crack me up, especially with your Anyway, go check it out. Funny. I think they do it on Tuesdays.
Right, it's on Tuesdays. It's funny. So go watch it. But the defense is just like you worry about the experience, like the game experience. They brought in Reed, the safety. He's a veteran guy. But McDuffie, he's going to be a starter, and he's a rookie at corner.
Right.
There's another guy. His name's escaped me now. I want to say his name, Josh Williams. John. He's a kind of a under the radar, smaller school guy that they like a lot. But again, lack of experience. You're going to be out there going up against. Luckily, we don't see D-Hop against Arizona week 1. He's suspended, but the Keenan Allens and the Devontae Adams in the division now, and they're out there.
Yeah,
and they're damn good players, and so it's one of those things where the lack of experience worries you, but you also maybe you have more upside than if you had some of these older guys that have been here the last couple of years that were okay. But Charvarius Ward, I hated losing him.
Yeah, that was a big loss.
Of course, he goes to John B's team, so that's the Super Bowl LIV consolation prize for the 49ers is Charvarius Ward, it looks like. So
D Ford and Charvarius Ward.
Right, D Ford and Charvarius Ward. But you look at the defensive line, Karlaftis is a rookie. Nick Bolton had a great first year, but sometimes players have a sophomore slump. Willie Gay, they've lost a lot of experience on the defense, which could turn out to be really good, or it could turn out to be a bit of an adventure. So
yeah, man, I still think our biggest weakness last year was the deep threat, right, and our inability to cover it, and that was really exposed in that Bills game, Bengals game, you name it, any of the playoff games. Like it's just like what we can't cover long balls apparently, and like throwing a rookie out there to, I don't know, try to cover some of these like Jamar chases and stuff like you were alluding to. It's a big question mark for me, man. I mean, maybe they're going to do better than Dan Sorensen is on one-on-one, but who knows?
Yeah, here you go, McDuffie. It's your 4th game in the league. Go, there's Devontae Adams. Go cover him.
Yeah, good luck.
That's it. Tall task. I think a lot is going to depend on the pass rush and the defensive line. They're going to have to help those guys out by pressuring the quarterback and knocking the quarterback around and getting him on the ground and not giving him time for the receivers to run around and get open. I think that's going to be the key to the defense. It's going to be the defensive line and the pass rush, which has deteriorated the last few years. I mean, I saw a stat. They said the Chiefs over the last 4 seasons went from being ranked 1st or 2nd or 3rd in sacks down to like 27th last year. So that's got to get better. But you bring Karlaftis in, maybe a rejuvenated, re-energized, refocused Frank Clark gets in there. Maybe you got another guy on the defensive line in there that pops up that kind of flies under the radar, can help, suck up some of those double teams and help, use that to his advantage, get in there, get the quarterback on the ground. Willie Gay's a fast linebacker. Maybe he can help out, get creative with some blitzes. I think that's going to be the key. So,
right. And
yeah, no, exactly.
You saw some glimpses of that. I know, again, a caveat preseason, but like I saw some glimpses of guys getting around. To Doug's point, though, that pass rush last year, even at the end of the season, looked pitiful. So I'm hoping, like you said, the Karlaftis and all these guys come in and, make
you saw the difference, right, in what teams were able to do to the Bengals offensive line and Joe Burrow that we were not able to do, right? The Chiefs recognized it. They spent a lot of draft capital on defensive players. And like you said, they got Karlaftis, who is supposed to be a bulldog, high motor dude, every down, just relentlessly trying to get, to the quarterback. Hopefully we've shored up some of our issues on the back end, but it's just, like I said, I think philosophically, right? Like we talked earlier about the culture of the team and, having a good culture with bringing in young guys and mentoring them and helping to develop them. Part of the culture of this team is also that the offense is the most important and the defense is secondary. And so can Andy Reid change that? Is it ever going to change? And so I just, like I said, I'm not saying that it's impossible, but I'm not going to believe it, until I see it, or see it until I believe it, as Mahomes was quoted as saying, so we'll see.
Scott and I must have said this 100 times last year, man. You give us a mediocre defense with Patrick Mahomes on offense, like
game over.
Yeah,
top 15, man. You'd be fine. A top 10, and you'd be looking at
like a Super Bowl run team, right? Like a dynasty team, like we were talking about earlier, right? If you had a top 10 defense with him at the helm, yeah, no question about it.
Yeah, it's just always, with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, it's always going to be offense is going to be the focus, and offense is going to have to be what carries the day.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just that's what it is, right?
Right.
And it's fine when you have Patrick Mahomes who can score 50-plus points in a game. You know what I mean? Like that's.
But you can't have a bad half in the AFC Championship game where you're screwed.
Exactly.
Yeah. No. The defense has got to step up. I mean, they can't be terrible. Which is not a high bar. Not terrible. It's not a high bar. That's achievable.
We cut a guy that was a great pass rusher. He just couldn't stop laying teammates into the ground during camp, and Kyle shut him down, cut him. Robert Nemchetti, or I don't know. I'm terrible with names. How would you guys say that? Nekmedishi?
I wouldn't.
Robert N. is what I would call him.
Nkemdichi?
Yeah.
I
don't know either. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, can't get rowdy in preseason. That's a thing too. Yeah. They don't like it when you hit their quarterbacks. They're very valuable players from a business.
Could you imagine talking to your friends and family about that? And they're like, "Oh man, you got cut. What happened?" It's like, I just, kept driving people into the ground in practice. Didn't they tell you not to do that? Well, yeah, like 100 times.
Why didn't you stop? I don't know.
So it's like that Signs movie. Just felt wrong not to swing.
For sure. So, but
Asked him repeatedly to stop. Nikim DJ. Thanks, John. I need that phonetic spelling. I appreciate it.
thanks for the thanks for the phonetic lesson there on how to pronounce that guy's name. But yeah, it's gonna be. We're just gonna find out. They're gonna play the games whether the defense is ready or not. So they're gonna start September 11th, and they're gonna have to find a way to be ready. But the Chiefs, especially on offense, they always come out hot and they start, and they've got tricks in the bag and tricks up the sleeve that they spring on people early in the season. You look at Andy Reid's record in his first, I think it's like they used to call it the first quarter of a season when it was 16 games. I don't know if they still do that now, but it seems like the Chiefs always come out. Last year they kind of had a little slow start because they gave a game or two away with the fumble against the Ravens, and then I think they started 3-4 last year. But prior to that, I mean, you're pretty much money on the Chiefs starting 2, 3, 4-0 every year, regardless of competition. Healthy, got all the tricks, like I said. You got all the plays that people aren't ready for. You spring your traps on them. Patrick Mahomes guys are ready to go. So,
God damn, Scott don't believe in jinxing people, does he?
no, no, I quit believing subscribing to that thought process a long time ago, man. Like, it don't matter what I do, what I wear to the game. Like, it's not affecting the outcome. Like, me talking about it here on Chiefs Kingdom Live.
You mean doing something like leaving a game early wouldn't change the outcome?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. But, non-game leaving early hosts here on Chiefs Kingdom. But, well, you guys want to jump up out of here? It's been about a little over an hour.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's do this again. How about next week, huh?
Yeah, well, I think we're gonna shoot for Wednesdays this year. That seems like a good day because it's gives you some. If you got Monday night game or something, you can break down the games from the week before. Games don't start till Thursday, so we got Thursday night football. Don't want to be trying to do that. So, and we don't want to be stealing the thunder, the locker room rant, trying to go up against that juggernaut on a Tuesday evening. So,
yeah, it's like trying to go up against the Super Bowl,
Exactly. You just
stupid,
right? Doesn't make much sense, but yeah. If you tuned in for the first time and you like the show, click the like, give us a subscription, tell your friends, follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook at Chiefs Kingdom Live. We got another season of football coming up. It's going to be a wild ride. I have a feeling.
Yeah.
A lot of new faces, a lot of unknowns with this team, but. The one thing you do know is Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are going to be badasses, and they're going to be good.
That's a given.
And they got the coaching advantage. They've still got guys on the defense like Chris Jones. They've still got big name players all around the field that are established players in the league that can make plays. So it's going to be exciting. It's a little bit different feel than the last couple of years. It was kind of like the run it back and then the take it back with the Super Bowl roster from 2 years ago. Most of those guys are gone now.
It's been a little bit more reserved coming out of camp, right? All the hype and stuff you're hearing, like it's more like we're grinding, we're working.
For sure.
Not much other than that.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody that tuned in. Doug, Elaine, Kayla, John V. Good to see you, man. I look forward to talking to you on Shank Club here hopefully soon, starting up on Saturdays. That's another really fun show to watch. I'm not sure who that is, but
always great to see you too.
I can't read their name, but yeah, no, thank you. It's glad to have you.
I've been butchering names all night. I'm not going to try that one either.
I think that's our friend that's over.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe that they've commented before.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, glad to see you're back. Appreciate you joining in. We're gonna do our best to stick to the Wednesday schedule this year. So give us a like, give us a subscription. Until then, let's go Chiefs.
Go
All right,
Chiefs.
let's go Chiefs.